Hi, testing audio. 1 2 1 2. You guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Just testing. 1 second. I'm showing that the audio is working pretty well for me. Just let me double check to make sure that you guys can actually hear me. This is the microphone. Is this? No, don't. Testing, testing, testing. Leave a comment if you can hear me. That's on Facebook. Okay. All right. So, thank you for coming. As you can see, that gradually, little by little, my production is becoming better and better. I have a pre-opening video, and I really rushed that one together. I'm learning. I'm looking at how other people live stream, and usually 10 to 15 minutes beforehand, which I failed to do this time. I was actually 5 minutes late. They usually have some sort of video, some preset video, and then it smoothly transitions into the actual live stream itself, which baby steps. Okay, so like I said in earlier live streams, it's going to evolve slowly but surely. It's going to evolve. So I started off with the video. Maybe next time it'll be way more animated, and the transition will be much smoother into a single stream, and then we glide right into it on time, not 5 minutes late, but the pre-video will start 15 minutes early. I'm getting better streaming. Little by little, baby steps every week. It'll be there will be improvements. That said, last week's video was about wisdom being the highest inheritance, not just simply the typical, oh, I leave my house behind or I leave my wealth behind. I'm not sure if you guys want to actually go over the video itself, because I can just share my screen and watch the video with you. It's not very long. It's only like 5 minutes. But with that, and we might start doing that. Again, I'm still feeling out how to live stream. So just for the sake of anyone watching, we might actually watch that video and then, but it's up to you guys. Ordinarily, I can watch the video with you, or I can just jump right into it. I think for now, I'll just jump right into it. So the premise of the video is, or should I say the video essay was, wisdom is the highest inheritance, not money, not land, not your family heirloom, but wisdom itself. Because with wisdom, you can gain, lose, build, rebuild everything about your family, regardless of what may happen or not. So with the sake of calculated risks that each generation can take to either take your family to higher levels, like higher evolutionary levels in status, for example, to bouncing back from whatever mistakes that you may have made as a parent. So long as you bequeath to them your wisdom, they can recover or advance from any position you leave them in, theoretically and potentially. So with that said, on this live stream, I'd like to go over my notes pertaining to different counter arguments I was able to either extract or discern one by one. And the first counter argument would be and I have notes on screen because I have like a Batman setup, so I have multiple monitors. The first counter argument would be that the claim is too absolute. Simply because one leaves their wisdom does not mean that the children in question may adequately utilize that wisdom to the betterment of the family. And that's a very real possibility. But that begs the question about the form of the wisdom, because it is unwise to misuse that wisdom, right? So it's paradoxical. To that, I would say, if you're really present for your children, which was also the foundation of my argument, if you're really present for your children, throughout the deep ingraining of that wisdom as they develop as people, then this holistically solves itself. So wisdom, as I said, has many forms. You can start off, it's not just as simple as leaving a written memoir for your children. I mean, it can be, but really the most powerful form of it transferred from generation to generation is your actual presence. And in that video, I broke down 2 different forms of presence, the literal and the figurative. In the literal form, you're actually there with your children, learning, and they're learning with you as you go along. You give them a taste of what it's like to be you in your day-to-day life. However, you may control the dangers or risks of the given environment in a way that is better than a traditional classroom, in a way that a classroom cannot provide. And then from there, if you spend enough time with your children, it is just simply a natural, inevitable aspect of their development that they would become a bit like you in action. And action speaking much louder than words, all they would need at that point, if done correctly, is just your guiding word. Once they make the decision to conduct themselves within a certain way or not within the framework of your legacy or the family's legacy, then the rest should take care of itself. That's my response to that. So the next counter argument was material inheritance can be morally serious, not merely secondary. Oh yeah, I totally agree. And to be fair, I did say that in my initial arguments, in that it's not just simply about the money that you leave behind, even though, and I was very clear about this, even though providing material provision, or to bequeath material provision, is absolutely a valid form of parenting, right? So ideally, you want to leave both. As much resources as possible, as much land or property, whatever it may be that they can work with. You know, leave them as many bricks as they can to build with. But I'd much rather have wisdom without any bricks than to have bricks with no wisdom. So there's my response to that. Thirdly, I made a key point being that houses burn, businesses fail, property gets sold, but wisdom becomes the child's operating system. And the counter argument to that would be wisdom can also decay, distort, or be misapplied. That is absolutely correct, right? And so there's a fundamental aspect of risk taking that just simply cannot be avoided, right? And that's just natural to life. But similar to Pascal's wager in pertaining to how one conducts oneself with theological wisdom, it's just simply, just like I said before, it's better to have wisdom something something of wisdom rather than to not have any at all. So again, it's like, I don't mean to repeat myself, but that it's like one answer can simultaneously answer a lot of different counter arguments or potential counter arguments. So yes, wisdom can absolutely be misapplied, even if you were there with the child. There's no 100% foolproof way to sustain a legacy over time. And also, I paraphrase. I think his name was G.K. Chesterton, an Orthodox writer of Christian Orthodoxy, if I remember correctly, and that I paraphrase, in that tradition is, and maybe I have the wrong writer, but I do remember the adage, and that tradition is the preservation of fire, not the worship of ashes. So with that said, preserving the why the wisdom is relevant is crucial. So wisdom is not just simply, some platitudes that work great for a time, and then after a generation or two they become dogmatic. It's always important to remember why and how this kernel of wisdom that we may speak of actually applies in the respective person's life and in any given context. Sometimes wisdom may not apply at all. Sometimes wisdom may be requiring an update, and that's up to the discernment of the respective generation inheriting the wisdom to take into consideration intelligently, or as intelligently as they can, or as wisely as they can. With that said, next counter argument. I said that wisdom shapes a child's destiny and the destiny of the family after the parent is gone. The counter argument to that would be, this overstates parental control over future outcomes. No, I don't think it actually does. The best that you can do is everything that you can to influence the future outcomes, which is a form of control. Now, granted, they said that this is an overstatement, but I think that's relative to the family in question and how you raise them. Next counter argument. Without wisdom, wealth becomes ammunition that hastens self-destruction. This is what I said. And the counter argument to that was wealth can also protect foolish people long enough to mature. Wealth can also protect foolish people long enough to mature. In some cases, yeah, but I would say only the minority. It depends on the fool, and it depends on how much wealth is available to protect them and for how long. Right? So that's a very relative thing. It's technically true. It's kind of a truism almost, but it's so relative, I just wouldn't base an entire message on it, if that makes any sense. Next, I said that parents who leave children nothing for equality are delusional or weak. The counter argument was some parents are trying to prevent entitlement, not appease envy. And well, that's true, but that's also why I said in the same respective argument that I personally believe in rites of passage, being present with your children in such a way that they are adequately challenged and given responsibility to the respective tier that they can handle it, which holistically either mitigates or completely eradicates entitlement in general, narcissism in general. Because as long as the child knows, and this is excellently depicted, or at least I don't mean to toot my own horn, I depict this, not excellently, but I depict it in my book Yield, in how the son, Sigurd, is faced with the choice of bearing the literal weight of the father's pack. And he just simply, when actually given that responsibility before he was ready, it was just too much. And he declined it, and wisely so. So with that in mind, as a person or child matures into the respective stressors as a natural part of their continually evolving responsibilities in alignment with their development as characters, this kind of, again, holistically solves itself. So long as the child is adequately challenged and empathetically reminded that they have limitations, that they're not equal to their parents, at least not yet. And through walking in the parents' shoes as much as possible throughout their developmental process, they'll see how hard it is to really be their parent and how hard it is to navigate throughout the world in general as a fully grown adult, which in and of itself tends to keep narcissism in check. Let's see here. Next would be equality does not exist in nature or society. Oh, now this is the big one, because I paraphrased Nietzsche in that, if memory serves correctly, I said that, I didn't say it, but Nietzsche, I paraphrased an adage from Nietzsche in that the people most obsessed with equality are the most inferior, right? I think Nietzsche worded it as no one is more inferior than those obsessed with equality. That may not be the exact quote, but that's what it is. And I knew that was going to get under a lot of people's skin. However, I stand by it, as they say, 10 toes down, as the new generation says. I stand on business 10 toes down without apology, in that, no, equality does not exist in nature. You can argue it left, you can argue it right, it doesn't exist. Now, you could say, okay, well, Mike, that inherently means that you must be anti-American, because in the Constitution it says that all men are equal under God, and you claim to be so pro-American that to say that equality doesn't exist, then that's an un-American statement. And to that, I would say, in any given collegiate scenario, students are taught the difference between intrinsic and instrumental value. And with that in mind, the reference to all men are created equal under God can easily translate into all men have equal intrinsic value. But the founding fathers said nothing about instrumental value. And in that regard, I am perfectly American in saying that equality does not exist. It just depends on the context of what version of value you're talking about. Next. saying that equality, I said that equality at scale is a recipe for civilizational destruction. The counter argument was the claim risks strawmanning every egalitarian concern. No, it doesn't. It may emotionally upset egalitarians or even communists, but it is, in fact, the age-old argument of equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome, right? I'm all about equal opportunity, and to the greatest extent that it could possibly be achieved. But I'm not about kneecapping other people, regardless of their backgrounds, regardless of their ethnicities or race, for the sake of manipulating outcomes against those who otherwise deserve their respective outcomes. In other words, you either have it or you don't. I believe in general, across the board, in any given context, in one standard and one alone, whether it be male, female, or it doesn't really matter how you apply it. Just one standard, and you either make that standard or you don't. Now, that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be some kind of compassion for people that may not be able to meet the standard given certain circumstances, but at the end of the day, they either make it or they don't. And to continually misapply the concept in order to manipulate outcomes, that's just, it leads to civilizational destruction at scale. It's all there is to it. You can hate me if you want for saying that. Okay. I said that a child never truly starts from zero because they inherit DNA traits, instincts, and capacity. The counter argument for that was biological inheritance is real, but it does not settle the ethical question. Well, what do you mean by the ethical question, right? So I took some more notes here on that one. And what's written down is that the fact that inheritance is unavoidable does not automatically prove that every form of inheritance is wise, fair, or well structured. And to that, I would say that is actually a straw man of my argument. My argument was simply that equality does not exist. So why should I pretend or kneecap my own children, figuratively speaking, or maybe even literally? Why should I either literally or metaphorically, literally or figuratively, why should I kneecap my own children to make other people feel better? No, it's just, by definition, by default, we all have hundreds of thousands of years of evolutionary advantages that we have inherited from our respective ancestors. I mean, I could easily instantly go into my skin tone. My skin tone is the result of a certain level of melanin that gives me UV resistance. The fact of my unique admixture of haplogroups gives me both heat and cold resistance, since heat radiation is different than UV radiation. And you can actually see in my earlier videos, if you go through my YouTube channel, you can see videos where I'm very light-skinned. It looks almost surreal. And no, that's not fake. That's not a trick of the camera. That's because I was in Alaska or maybe Latvia or somewhere else, cold with lower UV levels. And my body adapted in real time to that. There's a concept called epigenetics, and where certain genes, due to different stressors and triggers, they might activate or deactivate. And when I'm in colder, more Nordic environments, my body adheres to that, and I become whiter, essentially. When I'm in warmer, higher UV environments, perhaps in Spain or in the Middle East, you'll absolutely see me with darker skin tones. And it's all natural. None of it is a play of the camera. I don't change my skin, at least not consciously. I don't whiten my skin. I don't darken my skin. My skin color is fluid as per how my body needs to react to both temperature and UV levels. That's a very advantageous genetic inheritance that I have gained as a result of my mixed race heritage. And with that in mind, that is not something that I should apologize for, even though it gives me a significant advantage to both major racial groups, blacks and whites, in their respective scenarios, so long as I have adequate time to adapt to the respective environment. That's just one. I could go into IQ, and the debate on that is pretty much settled. Neuroscientists almost unanimously believe, the consensus is that IQ is 80% genetic. Yes, education and other environmental factors absolutely influence the ceiling of your IQ, but only so much. 80% of IQ is genetic, and IQ is the single, so far at this current time, it's the highest most determining factor in predicting the outcomes of people's lives. It's not absolutely 100% definitive, but it's the best that we've got so far as a society. And that's almost entirely based on inheritance. Almost all of it. So, and then you could also go even deeper into that pertaining to, okay, IQ is one thing, but what about personality? Well, guess what? About 80% of your personality is also inherited from multiple genes and how they react to your environment and how your environment shapes you and what genes trigger, what genes activate, what genes don't, what you learn and throughout the process of that development, the development of your character, and how that, in a nutshell, forms who you actualize into. So most of that is, in fact, inherited, and it absolutely influences the outcomes that you experience throughout life. So, okay. Children should not be forced to start from zero. This was another argument that I made. The counter argument for that would be starting from zero can sometimes mean starting from earned responsibility, not abandonment. Yeah, but remember, I also said in the same statement that I absolutely believe in starting my children from zero when it comes to making them earn their respective roles in the family companies or however we can apply it. So when I say children should never be forced to start from zero, and it's impossible for them to truly start from zero, genetically speaking, I would say be practical in the application of what I said. Don't strawman me. So even I said that, everybody should start from zero in the context of becoming worthy of whatever respective position or whatever function you like to bequeath to them as part of their inheritance, right? So that's just don't be pedantic, but don't nitpick. Right? So yeah, there it is. So I agree. There it is. I agree that no one should start from zero instrumentally. Everyone should earn the respect that they have the opportunity to earn as necessary to become worthy of the respective positions in a company or however that may apply, a rank in a family or a military or something like that. The multiplicity of ways that can apply. But you shouldn't kneecap your own children, and I stand firm on that. Let's see here, and that brings me to the next thing. I said executive seats in family businesses are theirs by familial dynastic right. This is a controversial one. The counter argument for that is bloodline alone is not enough to govern a serious enterprise. And I'd say you're strawmanning me. Everything I just said just 30 seconds ago was about, no, start them at zero, start them at ground zero, right? But make sure that they are worthy of their respective position, which can take years. It may never happen, but intrinsically, what is yours should be theirs. So it's up to the parents' responsibility to train the children, to raise them in such a way that makes them worthy of that position. So objectively, a given position in a company should be a part of the child's entitlement. They should be entitled to that position. Should you relieve it? Should you step down? Should you resign in some way, shape, or form? But at the same time, if they are unworthy of that position, yes, it should go to someone outside of the family. Right? That's just right. But if it was to go outside of the family, I would say 9 times out of 10, that's a failure on the parents' part, not a disproving of the concept of executive seats in family businesses being owed to the children by familial dynastic right. Right. In order for that not to be the case, in order for it to go to someone else, the parent would have had to have failed that child, respectively. Let's see here. What else do we have? Okay, I'm skipping over things that I overlap so I don't repeat myself too much. Okay, no, that's basically it. So the deepest objection is this: inheritance as a dynastic transfer of advantage before fully addressing the moral danger of entitlement, right? And it's just, okay, do you think, that boils down to, do you think you should apologize for others simply because you have advantages? And no, that's my hard line stance. I am never going to apologize for the advantages that I worked and sacrificed of my own life to bequeath to my children. I never will, nor will I ever condone them apologizing for it. And I don't care who that pisses off. I don't care how unfair that may seem. Life is unfair. I would be a lesser father if I didn't set my children up for maximum success in life, period. Okay, checking the comments for any questions. I'm live on multiple places here, multiple platforms. Are there any respective objections? No? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, children up. Alrighty then. Well, I'll sit here and wait for a second because people are coming and going. So I have an interface here called restream.io, and it gives me the bird's eye dashboard view of the different social media platforms that I'm currently streaming on. And currently I'm streaming on 4: X, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And while not many people are watching at one concurrent time, I do understand that there is a delay that I can see on screen. So people might be standing by for their opportunity to ask questions. So I'll give that a minute or two. Again, kept it relatively short. I try to keep these live streams around approximately 30 minutes. See, any comments, concerns? Checking YouTube. Because also on YouTube, I saw on last week's live stream that somebody left a comment that I did not address. I missed it because I logged off. I ended the stream too quickly. Concerns? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching this, even if you weren't here, because I understand I had to reschedule this live stream for an odd time due to the July 4th holiday, Independence Day. So if you catch up on this live stream after I end it, either way, whether you're here live or whether you were watching this later on, the video of it, the non-live video of it, thank you very much for your time and attention.